Good morning, everybody. Outfield for love or for your love or something like that. As I was watching the Pats over the weekend, my team, the Pats. I love the Patriots.
Yeah, me too. That was a great weekend of football. I was so happy.
They were playing that at Foxborough. They seem to really like that song up there. So there you go for the Patriots fans out there.
They're dynamite.
Big win. Big win by Brady and the boys.
I was happy too because the Patriots Colts. It's like one of those things you just never see. I know. So I'm really happy to. I know. It's nice, real relief to get something new.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen it differently, but there you go. What do you think? Brady's got this, right? Brady's got this over Andrew Luck. Travis?
Oh, it's been, 10 years since he's won a Super Bowl?
But they haven't. They have a fine team this year. Has it really been 10 years now?
I believe so, yeah.
They've lost 2, right?
Yes.
They've lost 2 Super Bowls and they've won 2 with Brady. No? Is that I think that's the deal.
Let me see the last time.
I don't want to lose your love tonight. That was an amazing play. Did you watch the game? Did you watch the Pats game?
I watched a lot of football this weekend, and I was kind of pulling for the Colts.
Yeah.
I'm for Baltimore.
Baltimore? Indianapolis, you mean?
Yeah. No, who did Baltimore lose?
Oh, Baltimore, you're
Baltimore lost to the Patriots.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wanted
right.
Baltimore to win, but I was like, I wasn't so invested in it that I was going to throw a water bottle against the wall and hurt my right arm again. But, I did want to see them pull it out.
That's just a weird thing to say.
Why?
I'm just saying, I wanted to see Baltimore win, but I also respected Brady's, it was just an awesome performance.
What about the trick play?
The trickery?
The little trickery was...
it's legal.
Did that make you really mad, Travis?
No, because it's legal. And you know what? I would expect nothing less from Bill Belichick. That's what makes him a genius head coach.
Right. That was a great play. That was very exciting. What's his name? Through to what's his name? I already forgot their names.
I'm glad the Patriots are advancing and not.
No, you're not.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. I stopped you before I could hear the sarcasm.
Yeah. So now I either have to root for the team that just beat my team or the team that fled my city overnight.
Right. So that's a tough call. Who do you pick? Who do you pick on that one?
The NFC.
Yeah. All right. And then, of course, Des Bryant. I guess they
didn't watch the Golden Globes. I didn't see the Golden Globes.
I tried. I'll be honest with you. I tried, and then I was like, "Why am I watching this?" Sam probably watched the whole damn thing.
Yeah, I did.
I tried, and then I'm like,
most of it.
What am I
That's a happier
doing?
subject. Let's talk about the Golden Globes. That was a fun, happy.
We're gonna get to Des Bryant in a few minutes.
Now we
here.
can talk about that.
Where's Florentine? Because he's a big football guy.
I think he's taking his shit.
All right, as soon as Florentine's done with his shit, we'll talk about Des Bryant.
Yeah, I was just kidding. I was just watching it on the news.
Well, there's a couple things about the Golden Globes, I guess. What was I watching? Every year I go, why am I watching this?
It's just a typical award show. I mean, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler did a good job, but
they did an okay job. They did an okay job. The Cosby stuff was pretty funny. They were a little brave with the Cosby stuff. They were doing Cosby. They were doing really bad Cosby impressions, which obviously was part of the bit. And about putting the pills in the what?
In the people.
In the people. Putting the pills in the people.
In the people.
That's pretty funny.
And they don't want the pills in them.
Funny.
Are they getting any heat on this today?
A lot of people are talking about
the pills in the people.
Yeah, that's a tough gig. So for them to do as well as they did, that's a very good job.
Yeah, because it's a room that doesn't want to listen to comedy.
Yeah.
They just don't want to. And then Ricky Gervais just showing he doesn't give any fucks whatsoever. He was great. Did you guys see the Ricky Gervais thing?
Yeah.
I did not.
He was hinting at just beating the shit out of everybody and then was trying to be a nice boy.
He just keeps going. And like you think he's done, and then he just keeps going some more.
Right.
He's great.
All right, here's the Cosby thing.
Anybody can into the woods. It's a weird word to sing, I'm not going to lie to you. Into the woods, Cinderella runs from her prince. Rapunzel is thrown from a tower for her prince. And Sleeping Beauty just thought she was getting coffee with Bill Cosby. Actually,
see the moans.
I don't know if you guys saw this on the news today, but Bill Cosby has finally spoken out about the allegations against him. Cosby admitted to a reporter, "I put the pills in the people. The people did not want the pills in them."
No, Tina, right. That's not right. It's more like, I got the pills in the bathroom, but I put them in the people.
You're right. It's got to be like, I put the pills in the hoagie.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's fair. That seems fair. But finally, Tina.
Good for them.
Yeah. So that was funny. That absolutely was funny. It is a tough gig because I like both those people a lot, and it's just tough because they don't. The crowd doesn't give them enough fucking reaction. Because they're all sitting there just full of themselves.
Aren't they at tables, though, as opposed to
they're
the
at
Oscars,
tables, they're drinking, they're probably,
also,
in the back, they're probably snorting fucking cocaine off the table.
And they can't be seen on camera laughing at the wrong thing.
Lena Dunham said, fuck that, that's funny, and she was laughing, good for her.
Oh, she'll do anything.
Have you had it with her?
No, I don't even, I know almost nothing about Lena Dunham other than I just hear her name pop up in these stories.
She will do anything. And then our boy, Jeffrey Tambor. Got a lot of tweets about Jeffrey Tambor last night.
Your boy?
Our boy Jeffrey Tambor, who can't take a fucking joke.
Seemed like he won the Golden Globe in spite of you, not because he's your boy.
Well, if you read my Twitter feed, that's what you would think.
Yeah.
I think we gave him a very good
we gave him a good interview. We didn't have an issue with Jeffrey Tambor. I was kind of bummed that he didn't go with a few of our little jokes. We were trying to make it a little light. And he was really mad. He really wanted to get this message out there.
It was an awkward interview. It was very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, but Jeffrey, that was his fault because he's the guy that comes in and goes, "You look stupid. Hey,
right.
What are you, dumb?"
Right.
And then you say something like, "Yeah, I fucked a tranny. You're a pig."
Right.
Oh, gee, sorry, fucking arbiter of what's appropriate.
Well,
I didn't realize it was. And you asked a fair question. Do you think you look good? That's a question a guy would ask. It's like, don't all of a sudden act like you've been a fucking activist your whole life.
Right.
However,
I was very confused by that because Jimmy just nailed it. He comes in here and just busts balls, like really, in a really funny way.
Very funny, yeah.
He's brutal. He's kind of like a Tim Conway type of guy.
Yeah.
And then we didn't know
the great book cover. What's so funny? He's looking up. Oh, Colin pointed out to me how awful that book cover was. Like
what Dwarf on Golf or what?
Book cover was hideous.
What was his name again?
Dwarf
on Golf.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden we get serious Jeffrey Tambor, and he's becoming, like Jimmy said, an activist, and he's all about the trannies now, rah. Well, I guess you can't say trannies. Transgenders. Trans. Now you can just say trans.
You can say tranny. They say tranny.
Oh.
The Tranny Awards are in February. I've heard.
Are you going to be sick in February?
Yeah, you may hear like a bunch of cheering behind me. Not going to make it in, guys.
Florentine, you shaved the beard, man. What the fuck? You were my beard brother. I'm going to have to shave now because I want to be just like you. How are you?
I was going to, I don't know. It's just.
We were going to talk about, we're going to talk about Des Bryant, but then we were waiting for you because you were taking a shit in the bathroom. So
how do you know?
Because Jimmy told.
We're all looking for Florentine. Like, where's Florentine? I'm like, he's got to be taking a dump. I haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, so then we started talking about the Golden Globes. Did you see the Golden Globes?
I tried. I saw a little of it.
I tried. And then I'm like, what am I doing? They're all licking George Clooney's ass, and then I finally said, I'm done with this. Why were they licking his ass?
Their joke about George Clooney was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
What joke?
What'd they say? When he got married, you could hear all those hearts break.
Come on now.
Somebody's making a move for a gig for next year.
Yes, I am. Hey, there's the old heartbreaker. Good hand for him, though. Congratulations. Like a fucking Aces High applause.
What did you think of the Golden Globes, Florentine?
I only saw bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
I forgot it was on, and then I saw people tweeting about it, so I put it on for. I missed the monologue, which is what I really wanted to see, but I didn't see that.
It was all right. They had moments. I think their material was good, but the problem is that these assholes don't really want to react to anything, and they're too scared. They did a Cosby joke, and you could hear the moans in the audience. Like, oh my God, why are you going there? That's crazy.
I saw people complaining about it, like women, like why are other women making Cosby rape jokes?
Right.
When there's a lot of rape victims.
Absolutely, I agree.
Christ.
I'm right with those ladies. Absolutely. I don't agree with that type of humor.
That's the basics. It's the basic of comedy. Rape is not funny, but jokes about it could certainly be funny, right?
I think there would have been a lot more flack if there was a guy host, if Ricky did it.
Oh,
and he did
Jesus,
the Cosby jokes. Because he would have done 10 minutes straight on
Of
Cosby
course he
jokes.
would have.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have stopped. So we were talking about Jeffrey Tambor, this Transparent show. Transparent?
Transparent. I only saw the first 4 because I didn't want to join Amazon.
Right.
But it was fucking great when I saw it. It was fucking great.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Somebody called me out. He goes, when Jeffrey Tambor said, give it a chance, and at least watch the show, and you said to him, I definitely will do that. Someone asked me on Twitter last night, so did you definitely do that? I said, no, I never saw the show. It sounds like it's a great show.
Yeah, it was very well acted.
I just didn't like how he had to take himself so damn seriously in here.
There were also weird moments though, like he came in and said something like, I don't want people asking me, did you wear women's underwear?
Right.
But I think you had spaced out or something, because like 10 minutes later you said, so did you wear women's underwear?
I didn't space out.
You did it on purpose?
Yes, I'm calculated at times. Yes, I was annoyed. Of course, I remember the interview like it was yesterday.
Why did he say he didn't want people asking him that? Why wouldn't you expect people to ask questions that we're curious about?
Yeah, because you're in the end, you're a man, you're an actor. So my thought process was it kind of weird to maybe grow out your nails a little bit? And did you wear underwear to really get into the part? What's wrong with that? Would you wear underwear if you? Would you wear panties? Probably. I mean, if you.
I've done it without the film. Why wouldn't I?
Should have saw me last week.
You would probably go all in if you're gonna play that part.
You might want to feel a certain way. Why not? Like you want to feel like you're in that role. I don't think that's an odd thing at all.
But good for Jeffrey Tambor. He won best actor,
best actor,
actress. What did he win there for that?
Oh, but you're being cheeky again.
I liked how Louis, when the camera pointed to Louis when he was up for something, he's like, no, please.
Right.
Yeah, I like that moment.
But he really wanted it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Tambor beat out a whole bunch of our pals there.
Beat Louis, beat Ricky. And honestly, his performance was fucking amazing, man. You can't.
Cheadle was in that category, I think, right?
Yeah.
And who was the other one that we... there was one more, I believe. Whatever. Anyway, what did you see? You didn't really see the Golden Globes, did you? Good for you. You shouldn't. I felt kind of dirty. I watched all those football games, and then I switched off of the Broncos game when that was over to the Golden Globes. I'm like, what are you doing? What the fuck? Go play with your kids. What are you doing watching this shit?
I did want to see the monologue, though. I missed that. I wanted to see the Peyton Manning press conference. His afterwards.
You think he's done?
I don't know. There's something going on. He definitely had some kind of injury. He was throwing like Chad Pennington.
Right.
He couldn't throw the ball, so
they couldn't adjust. Those short passes and going, it worked obviously many times with those screens and stuff. But they had that figured out, and they kept doing that same shit.
He couldn't throw deep. He wasn't. That's his usual game. He'll throw short, and then throw deep.
And he never did the deep.
The defense keeps coming in, so there's something going on. Maybe that neck thing's coming back, or something with his arm, or something. But you could tell like the last 4 or 5 weeks he's got something going. Something's wrong.
He's 38.
And he didn't commit, too, about coming back next year. So,
but who else they got?
Nobody.
He'll come back for one more year. One rah-rah year. Maybe he'll say, all right, look, this is my final year, so he can at least get the accolades. Is he that? But he's not that type of guy. If he's ready to go, he'll just go.
I don't think he wants to embarrass himself, like play a really shitty. He had a good year this year, very good. I don't think if he knows there's some kind of problem, he's not going to want to come back and have a really shitty year.
Right.
And look really old.
What did he say in the press conference? I did not.
He just said, I haven't made my mind up. It's, I can't tell you right now, but I'm not going to commit either way, basically.
I bet you he comes back unless whatever's going on is really, really serious.
There's like $20 million on the table, or $25 million,
Jesus,
too.
you come back for the $20 million.
Come back, absolutely.
Come back for one more, right? So let's get into this.
That was the weekend. I mean, it was a really good weekend. I had a great time in Long Island and a great weekend of football. And so I was happy to see that Richard Linklater won Best Boyhood one. I thought that was really good. I was happy.
Jimmy has an injury today. He got so mad.
No, I was just, once in a while you get angry at something and you realize this is why you stopped watching something years ago, because it ruins your life.
I know, it brings you back. It sucks you right back in.
I got so angry. I started screaming, fuck. Like it was like I was when I was 18. I'm punching the table in the hotel. I threw my water bottle and fucking hurt my right arm. It's just nonsense.
I'm watching it. I'm watching this thing again, man. Oh my God. I guess.
How does that?
I guess everyone is saying it's the right call, but man, I mean,
I thought he made 2 steps. Well, he took 2 steps.
1, 2. That's
the
3
ground
steps.
causing the fucking fumble. He had the ball,
but then the ground.
But he had contact with the Green Bay defender.
Right.
Landed on the ground, and he still had the ball, so he should have been tackled right there.
Right.
The Green Bay guy touched
saying.
him, so he falls on the ground, and now he should be down right there.
That's a bad call.
It's an amazing catch.
Technically, it is the right call. That happened with Calvin Johnson a few years ago. It's just a ridiculous call. If he's a running back and that ball breaks the plane, as soon as the nose of the ball hits the plane, he could fumble it after that, and it's a touchdown.
But that didn't break the plane, obviously. He was about he was about
6 inches short,
6 to 8 inches short. I was rooting for the Packers, but I don't know. That seems like that should be a catch in the NFL at this point.
It's a joke that it's not.
I just don't see how it's not after you've taken 2 steps. Like, how is that still you're still catching? How is
There's some weird football move.
You have to make a football move.
What do they consider a football move?
I don't know, a stutter step, or I don't know.
Oh, God.
I think you're making a football move.
Yeah.
It was a circus catch.
By reaching out and trying to get it to the end zone.
Right.
Because he didn't have to do that. He had the ball. He could have just tucked it.
Most of the guys that know way more than us about football say that it was the right call.
That's the only reason I haven't jumped out the windows. Because, all right, they didn't get fucked. It's just it's just shitty luck.
Florentine obviously knows a lot more than us.
I mean, technically it is the right call, but it's ridiculous. It's stupid.
So how do they change that? Because I bet you that they might really take a serious look at this in the offseason and see if they could maybe change that in a way.
No, because what happened to Calvin Johnson a couple of years ago in the end zone, I think Johnson's was even more ridiculous than that.
Right.
And they said, nope, that's the rule. So they haven't changed in the last 3-4 years. So I don't think they're going to change it.
Man. And that's how the Cowboys lose.
Yeah, well, they
would have been first and goal at that point.
Yeah, they might have gotten in. I mean,
might have.
I never said they definitely would, but let's say they would have at least got 3.
They had a damn good chance at it.
Yeah, unless Bailey missed another field goal. He missed 2 in like 10 seconds. He one fly. And I know the whistle blew, so maybe that was it. Just he didn't put it full. And then what did he miss? How was it? 51 or 50?
No,
yards?
it was like a 45-yarder. The one. Oh no, they moved it back 5 yards, so he missed it. Yeah, 45 and then 50. Yeah.
And then there's a 51-yarder that they were going to kick, but they said that he had been coming up short that direction, so they had to go for it. Like I think on 4th at one point. Like just awful.
So what happened in your house after the Des Bryant?
I was in a hotel. It was just I turned it off with 2 minutes left because I'm like, when you start to think of like what your laptop would look like sailing across the room, you're like, I just can't handle this emotionally. I can't do it.
Were you just pacing the hotel after that?
Nah, I was kind of like, they had a good season, and
But you threw a water bottle and threw out your arm?
In that moment, I was just so irritated, yeah. But you know how it is.
And you hurt your arm?
I certainly did.
That's great.
I don't have a team in this, obviously, but God, the games were really exciting this weekend.
The New England Raven game was unbelievable.
I loved it.
That was a great game.
That was a score fest, man. And that play was amazing. I forgot the guys' names already. That's how lame I am.
Oh, Edelman and
Edelman, right? And Amendola.
Amendola, yeah,
right. Yeah, that's how they win on a trick play, basically. What do you think going forward? I want to see. I really, truly want to see the Patriots Packers in the Super Bowl.
It's going to be tough for
a little
Packers
rematch
to go into Seattle and win. Right. They could. But it's going to be tough.
And it's going to be tough for the Colts to win in Foxborough, right?
Yeah. The Colts, I always thought that a mediocre defense, but they played man-to-man on Peyton Manning and his receivers, just like Seattle did in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
So he couldn't, he could throw those little dink and dunks, but they were right on top of him. They couldn't run afterwards after the 3-yard passes.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe the Colts can go in. Just Brady is just unbelievable, and the Patriots, I mean, they're
having a good year. They have a pretty solid team all the way through now. We'll see. Luck is no joke, though.
The 4 teams that are left, it's going to be a good Super Bowl either way.
I think so. I'm pretty excited with the 4 teams that are left. I can't wait for the games. Next weekend, right? We play again, and then we'll have the 2 weeks off before the Super Bowl. So,
yes.
So close, Jimmy. So close.
Well,
and Romo had a nice game.
Romo stepped it up this year. He had a great year.
I absolutely did. He was great.
There was like one game, I think, this year where he threw a pick late.
Yeah, he's having bad moments. My only issue with Romo is his mobility is not quite what should, about that of a cinder block. He's really...
But he's injured.
Yeah,
he's got some nagging injury too, a little back action maybe, and he his knee looked like he twisted that a little bit during the game, right?
Yeah, but I thought he was very good.
He played great considering.
Yeah, absolutely, I had no problem with it.
He didn't lose that game for you either.
No, not at all. It was just one of those things. Packers were really good. I mean, like you watch a season like that, you're like, the fucking team had a great season. I just wish that it didn't end
If
on that
DeMarco
play.
Murray didn't fumble, he had a hole. He would probably went all the way on that. He got stripped right there, and that turned around the game.
Yeah.
He probably would have scored on that. There was nobody around.
And then they said that was a 6-point turnaround when Dallas missed that field goal, and then they gave one up before the end of the half. So instead of being 17-7, it was fucking 14-10.
Right.
Little shit like that. Like they made a few mistakes. And also, wasn't there a fumble on a kickoff too that Green Bay wound up recovering and the Cowboys didn't?
Yeah.
It was a Green Bay kickoff, but
Right.
I mean, Green Bay's ball, but. Whatever. It is what it is. It was. I've had a lot worse losses than that, like ones that were more frustrating than that. That was just that one moment.
I wish I was there because I haven't seen Jim in a rage like that watching sports in a long time.
It hasn't happened in so long. I only watch UFC now. I never get angry at who wins.
Would you giggle?
Oh, of course.
You would have to laugh, right?
I'm like, come on, that's not that bad. There's still time left. There's like 3 seconds on the clock just to instigate him.
Did it really hurt your arm?
I did, but I've had the right arm problem for quite a while. It's been acting up in the gym.
Yeah.
So it's just been, I've been trying to take care of it. And the way to take care of it is not to throw your half-filled water bottle. I had to throw something against something. And I couldn't, I can't throw the computer.
You do any damage to the hotel?
No.
Is that the arm you whack your bag with?
It certainly is.
Yeah, but
Was it a problem last night after the water bottle
I
incident?
didn't do it when I got home last night. My dick was too sad. I was, of course, having an apnea problem like I did all weekend. I probably got 4 hours of sleep combined, and my dick just wasn't having it. Was not having any fucking.
You go lefty though, anyway. Change it up a little bit.
Never. I can't do my left.
You
hand
never
doesn't
go
work.
left.
I'm
No, I
lucky
never
I
do
can
either.
jiggle my balls without
Change
fucking
it up
injuring
a bit.
myself.
Nah, it doesn't work for me either. I've
Can't
tried.
get the rhythm going, but
When I first started whacking
it
my
just
back,
makes it feel like you're with a very drunk girl.
Yeah,
I didn't start.
can't do that.
I didn't start jerking off till I was 21. Was the first time I did it.
You're lying.
No, I'm not lying. I swear to God.
You are.
Why would he was getting blown for wrestling pictures?
We have to dip into your story. On a side note, we're going right back to that. I was hanging with Ron Bennington. He said your Unmasked was amazing. I still haven't listened to the whole fucking thing. Talking about your childhood and growing up and stuff.
Yeah, we did it live at the Stand, the
Right.
comedy
When was
club. We did it in like
Couple
July.
months ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's that long ago now?
Yeah, we taped it in
Wow.
July and it aired. I don't know, probably like late July or something like
Yeah,
that.
because I was at the Robert Kelly one at the Stand. It's a nice little room they got over there.
Love that
on
room.
the
They do
east
a really
side.
good job with that.
And Ronnie was telling me how great yours was. He was ranting and raving. But anyway, right back to you start jerking off at 21?
Yeah, 21. I didn't get laid till a month before I was 18. That was the first time I ever got laid.
I was 18. I was a late bloomer, but I was whacking. As soon as I realized that felt good, I don't understand how you go all those years without jerking off.
I think because I grew up strict Catholic, so I just felt like I really thought I was going to go to hell if I did it. So I
No.
stayed away. Yeah.
At age 17 or 19, you were thinking that?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I looked at a lot of porno. I'd always buy porno magazines at 13, 14, buying Hustlers and shit like that, but never jerked it.
But strict Catholic, that was our parents' generation where they really thought they were going to hell. If
Yeah.
they talked about or thought about sex, I can't imagine our age group was believing in that horse shit.
No, I believe pro wrestling was real till I was 16. So why wouldn't I?
No,
I
you
did.
didn't. Not until you were 16.
At least, 14 is when the guy touched me. So I think it was probably another year or two after that. And that's when I stopped watching.
You're
So I was
not
like,
a naive guy. What's going on in your head?
That guy removed your child. He removed your innocence.
You could not have believed that wrestling was real at 16.
Definitely at 14, without a doubt.
14 seems a little old.
I remember at like 15 or 16, it was Ivan Putski versus Ken Patera, and they were playing at like they were wrestling at the local high school.
Yeah.
And I saw them like outside in the park, like getting the car together. And I was like heartbroken. I'm like, why would they? Because they were like in the same rent a car after the show. I'm like, why would they be in the same car? They hate each other.
You would think
And
they
I think my dad had to tell me. He goes, look, no. Hey, look, Roland thought Santa Claus was real till last year.
Well,
So
when did you figure out Santa Claus?
that was early. That
About
was
8?
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
8's about the age, maybe.
Yeah.
I think I was around 8. So then I would give you 2 years after that for the wrestling thing. I would give you 2.
Maybe 3.
Let's push 3 tops. You should have figured out by 11.
I mean,
Huh?
11's super late.
I know, but
Even
I'm
I
giving
knew
him.
by the time I was 8.
I'm
I
giving him
watched
the benefit
wrestling
of the
all
doubt.
time.
But I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. What my point is, even if you think 11's late, he went 3 years after that.
But didn't you go to live shows? Like
I used to go to Madison Square Garden. You had to be, I think, like 7.
You didn't see the fake fucking
You
hits?
can't go to live shows and think that that's real when you're 14.
There was a lot of blood and stuff like that, too. I definitely thought it was real.
They do a much better job now. They've figured out angles and stuff where it looks way... And they take more bumps, I think, modern-day wrestlers.
Now, yeah, it's different
than when
now.
I was growing up. But it was so obvious when we were growing up it was fake. They would miss each other by fucking 6 to 8 inches with half their stuff.
Maybe I just didn't want to believe it. No, because I remember what my dad used to take me to Madison Square Garden for the matches, and I think you had to be like 16 or 18 to get in the matches because there was going to be blood. If there was blood, there was some weird rule. So I remember my dad would make me wear platform shoes like Gene Simmons from Kiss, so I look taller and I can get in.
That's wonderful.
And I wear like bell bottoms to cover them up.
I'm going to try to say wonderful instead of beautiful. When you're in here, I have to say beautiful about 100 times.
That's the last word I want to say when I look at him.
I love imitating Florentine when he's in here. I find myself going beautiful when you're in here. So I'm going to try to say wonderful instead. Well, how high were the platforms?
They were high, like, probably 6 inches.
Get the fuck out of here,
yeah,
really?
6 to 8 inches. My mom used to have pairs or whatever, so I'd fit into hers somehow.
So you're wearing your mom's shoes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have longer pants to cover up the fact
like
that...
they were like bell bottoms to cover them up so you couldn't see them.
And how did you walk in the platforms? That's like trying to handle stilts when they're that high.
Well, you take the train to Penn Station. Madison Square Garden was right there, so it wasn't too much walking.
Your dad made you get fucking...
Yeah, because he wanted me to look taller so I could get in their match. He didn't want to get there and then go, no, you guys got to go home.
Right. Did they ever question you?
No.
That's nice. All right, so 14, but the 21, I don't get the 21. That's impossible.
I remember
you never touched it or anything?
Probably, but I remember the first time I came in a rubber with my first girlfriend, I like ran in the bathroom because I didn't know what happened. I felt like blood came out.
No one explained this to you at 18?
No. So I ran in there. I'm like looking in the condom, like, holy shit, because I blew, probably a gallon into it. I almost said, when I took it off, I put it off my shoulder, on my back, like I was Santa Claus, walking it out to the dumpster.
Let me ask you, this is why I almost admire Florentine, though, because that you can fuck with the condom on now. Like, I'm so fucking fucked up from doing that for so many years and so ferociously and so like, that's probably the healthy way to go. You don't abuse yourself so your dick does what it's supposed to do.
I've never had a problem wearing a condom. Never.
I can't believe either one of you guys.
Sure, it's better without, but I have no problem with it.
The second time around, I might have a problem with one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a little soggy six.
Me too. In life, the second time in life I tried it, I was finished.
But getting back to the 21, so when I finally did it.
No, let's go back to 14, and then we'll get to the 21.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of time where you're just in your room by yourself, 12, 13, 14, and you couldn't figure out how all this worked by yourself?
I had 2 brothers that were living in a room. There was 3 of us in the room. We had bunk beds and another bed. So
we had the same life.
And then I had my Farrah Fawcett poster right above my head, the one with the nipple.
Right.
So that was right there, too.
But still, you had erections, right?
I think.
So weird, Jim. That is so weird.
I remember getting blown at like 16 from some girl, but I never came at work.
But where'd you go to school that the kids at school weren't talking about this? You learned a lot of shit at that lunch table, like the first kid going, hey, you know what fucking could happen if you pull your putt a few times?
Yeah, well, the guys I hung out with were all just, we just smoked cigarettes and drink beer, even at 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, so we weren't really into chicks. And then I moved to Florida, so I went in this private Catholic school junior and senior year that I didn't know anybody.
Wow.
So I didn't have really any friends down there at all for the 2 years. It was just a bunch of rich, yuppie kids.
Right.
And I was this dirtbag with long hair with a fucking Black Sabbath shirt on.
So your brothers didn't tell you shit.
No.
Obviously, we didn't have the internet, but none of your friends at school told you shit.
No.
And then when you're just bored in your room by yourself, wide awake at night with a heart on, you couldn't figure out, let me fool around with this and see what this could do?
I was watching a lot of wrestling, so I probably wasn't getting a lot of hard-ons. Superstar Billy Graham did have a nice body, but
he sure did.
It really didn't do anything for me.
He sure did.
Yeah. Tony Atlas was hot, too.
So then you finally... Wait, 21 was when you...
21 is when I first whacked my bag.
But 18, you lost your virginity.
Yeah, and then there was one other girl in between 18 and 21 window that I had sex with, and that was it.
That I don't get this.
I remember I used to wear a cross around my neck, and I remember the second girl I hooked up with, like some bar. I took her home, and I remember taking the cross off and sticking it in my sneaker before I did it because I was so like, oh my God, Jesus is going to see me. I got to take this off. I'm having sex, and I shoved it in my sneaker.
Well, at least you showed respect for the Lord.
Yeah, I put it in my smelly sneaker.
Wow. So 18, you come for the first time, and then you don't want that feeling unless you're with a girl?
Yeah, I don't, but by the fourth time I did it, that's when I used saran wrap on her, and she broke up with me, so that fucked me up.
What's the saran wrap thing?
I used saran wrap on my first girlfriend without her knowing.
Yeah. You tried to kill her and cook her.
And then she found out, and she broke up with me the next day.
Wait, you put saran wrap around your penis?
Yeah, because I didn't have a condom. We were in our house like 2 a.m, and I forgot to bring a condom. We were fooling around. Her parents were upstairs.
So were you horny?
Yeah, so she's like, she goes, you need a condom. We have to do this. So I said, hold on. I ran into a kitchen at like 2 a.m. naked. I don't know why I thought there would be a condom in there, and I just saw saran wrap. I ripped the sheet off.
Why would you tell her if it worked?
Because I figured she was going to say no, like you can't use this. So I started putting it in. It was dark,
right?
And then she turned the light on because it wouldn't go in, and she was screaming because it hurt. It was dry.
Oh my God! She saw your saran wrap.
Lucky it wasn't tinfoil.
I would have used that. I would have found that first.
Oh wow! Okay. And then you just decide. So when did you lose the religious thing?
Yeah,
where you calmed down a little bit as far as that goes.
Probably about like 21 when I started. After I started, when I jerked off the next day, I felt so bad. I felt like the biggest loser. Like everybody's looking at me like what a piece of shit I did because I did it in like the middle of the night. I came home drunk from a bar. I think I was like making out with some chick and I was all horny.
Right.
I just did it like 3 a.m.
Right.
So you knew about it but avoided it.
Like I avoided it.
Okay,
yeah.
You knew it existed and just didn't want to.
I don't know how you avoid that.
I don't either.
Especially as a teenager when you're getting 20 hard-ons a day. I don't understand how you avoid that.
Yeah.
I was more into wrestling and music and stuff like that, and
we
just
were all into
playing football and shit. We look at dirty magazines, but
I was into everything you just said and jerking off.
Yeah,
you found time.
I was into all of those while jerking off.
That is a hell of a story.
There's 7 of us in a house, so there wasn't a lot of privacy. I mean, I'm sure I could have done it somewhere, but there really wasn't.
Look, man, there was a time there was 5 boys in one room in my house, and I found a way.
You ever arc one on one of your brothers?
Hell no. I found a way. We had two bunk beds in our room. And 2 of my brothers had to share a bed for a long time. A little too long. A little too long.
To what age?
They moved in together in an apartment.
I think if I got around 6 or 7. That's a little too long to be sharing a bed with your brother.
But that's not as terrible as I thought.
And then when we finally took the top half of our house off and did the right thing and made some more rooms. But yeah, for a long time, it was 5 of us in one fucking room. We had very similar upbringings.
Yeah.
And we have... I got 5 boys, 2 girls, and you're right up. You're pretty damn close yourself. So.
But what happened was after I did it, I felt guilty for a couple days, and then I just went on a tear. I couldn't stop.
Right.
Within 10 days after I jerked off the first time, I had to go to the doctor because I got bursitis in my arm. I swear to God, my arm was in a sling for a week. I used to play softball, and I missed like two games. I couldn't go to work. My fucking arm was in a sling because I was jerking off. The doctor's like, "What are you doing with this arm?" Because the other one's fine. He did X-rays. I'm like, I don't know,
And you really believe you got it from that?
No, I did, without a doubt.
That's
it was
funny.
It was 10 days after, so I had a sling for a week.
So that you had to be just...
I was out of control. I couldn't stop.
That's wonderful. See, I want to say beautiful there. Man, that's a hell of a story. Sammy, you can't believe that, right?
No, I started jerking off at like...
What's the average age you think a guy starts whacking it?
I think I was like
11?
15 and I was late.
15.
I would say 11 or 12.
I would go 11 or 12. I think I was about... I'm trying to even remember. Do you remember the first time you jerked off? I don't.
Yeah.
You do?
Absolutely.
How old?
I was younger than that even.
To completion?
Well, I'll tell you what happened was, I didn't know what to expect. I was maybe I was 10 or 11. I don't remember. I remember vaguely. Just the first time I was about to come, I ran into the bathroom and pointed my dick the same as you because I thought it was piss. I felt that feeling building. I didn't know what it was. So I ran to the bathroom and just, of course it stopped. It went away. I was like, what happened?
Wow.
I was like, oh.
Wow.
And then later I'm like, let me get that back.
I felt guilty about it the first time.
Why?
Because I thought I was like, that's baby juice,
Did you feel guilty because you did it or because you ate it after? As you were eating it out of your hand, did you feel bad? Like a small deer?
Baby juice.
Licking my fingers.
Yeah, it's sad that most of us do feel guilty.
The very first time, just watching, like, just flushing it. I was like, oh, that could have been a life.
Oh, God.
But then, like,
I wish your mom and dad had said that.
See, you wouldn't be here.
But then immediately, the next night, he was like, oh, no, I'm fine with it now.
You're right back with it? Yeah, get rid of those lives?
No problem.
Why the guilt, though? Obviously, the church could do that a little bit.
I don't know, because I never went to church.
And then your parents looking at you, you always feel like they could see right through you. Like,
no, they
fuck.
weren't watching me that time.
I was still going to church every Sunday up till probably like 2021 maybe. So then you had to go to confession like once a month or whatever. And I was like, I was embarrassed to confess that I jerked off.
Did you?
I think, when I first did. And then I was like, man, I'm not coming here anymore because it's embarrassing. Yeah.
So you started jerking off at 21 and that's what got you away from church?
Pretty much,
too.
yeah. I was like, I'm not going back in
You
there to
made
tell
the right
priest.
choice, loads or God.
Yeah.
And you chose loads.
How many priests you think loved confession day?
It had to be a lot.
Yeah. A lot, right? They're sitting there like, I get to listen to everyone's dirty fucking secrets all afternoon long. I mean, that could be the greatest gig ever. Yeah.
The two priests that I would always confess to wound up molesting kids later on in life. We all found out those two.
And how many of those guys were actually getting off as you're telling your dirty little secrets, you think? You're a human after all. I'm just going with the human angle here. You're sitting there hearing like these hot MILFs and all that, confessing all sorts of shit, and you're there and you're not allowed to have sex with anything, and you got to be losing your mind.
Now with smartphones, they probably tape it. Who know how many times priests probably tape the conversation and just jerk off to him later?
Later on,
I would.
They'd wanted Florentine stories from him 10 years earlier. They were like, "You're 21. This isn't
I know, right?
Sexy.
I sounded like this
retarded.
when I was 21 too. They're like, what's wrong with you? You sound like you're 60. Let me see what you look like.
I went to confession a few times. I would always save the embarrassing stuff. Not that I had anything too crazy, but I always just went with the nonsense stuff just to get it over with.
There was one of the priests. They just transferred him away because when that shit was going down, parents were complaining. They just sent him to another parish somewhere. The other guy, no one ever knew, right? So cut to like 20 years later, this couple that went to the school that were like high school sweethearts or grade school sweethearts wound up getting married. So the woman wanted to have this priest marry them. He was working in another parish. Now, this is 20 years later. So they're having like a engagement party and they bring the priest there and they're talking or whatever, and the priest is up there talking, and then the guy goes up there, the fiance, and goes and it says, Father Steve, I'll call him, wound up molesting me when I was a boy for 20 years ago, broke it in front of everybody at the engagement party.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, it was someone told me that story like 6 months ago.
Did he do that on purpose? Did they do it on purpose to get in there or no?
I don't know. I know that the wife wanted him, the priest, to do their wedding. So she found him wherever he was in another place, at another parish, and he was at the engagement party, and the guy broke it at the engagement party. Never told his wife, never told anybody about it.
I was going to ask if the wife knew. So what happened was she really wanted this priest. He was tormented by the whole thing.
Yep.
And then he was feeling it in the moment. Said,
Was he
you know
drunk,
what?
you think?
You know what? I have to say this now. No,
What if he's loaded?
probably not. When you got a lot of emotions going on at those engagement parties and stuff, and everyone getting up and talking. So he probably just felt it and said, fuck it, I got to say this now. Wow.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
Yeah. So he just, the guy just like left the parish he was in. The church that he was practicing at, that priest just left, and then we didn't know where he went.
What happened at the party? Like, did he do the wedding?
No, he didn't do the wedding. I think the wedding might have been off. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
She left him?
No, I don't know what happened after that, but I know he definitely didn't do the wedding, and then the guy kind of like disappeared. The place he was working at, he just left. He resigned, and that's all I heard. I didn't hear the ending of the story, but he broke it right at the engagement party in front of everybody.
What'd they all do?
Everyone was freaking out because they thought he was joking. Someone was there, so they thought he was ha ha ha. Then he's like, "No, I'm serious." And the guy started crying.
Who, the priest?
No, the guy that got molested.
No, the priest was probably trying to make everybody laugh like it was a big joke. Oh, he's roasting me. Oh boy, that's uncomfortable.
But those two guys never touched me though. When I was an altar boy too.
You sure?
Yeah.
I wonder if we had kid touchers in our parish.
Guaranteed, man. Well, probably the odds
That's
are.
Why you have the yoga
maybe not every. Maybe not every member.
I just wonder because it was rampant.
We are very focused on
Rampant.
R&D.
Rampant.
We
Yeah.
invest
Rampant.
a lot in R&D.
Yeah, so
In smartphone
I think
alone,
most of us had
now we have
a
nearly
kid touching priest
5,000 engineers designing
relatively close to
smartphones.
us.
So we are very focused.
And
on,
it's
on
amazing. They would
innovating
just say, all right,
and on
now you go
delivering,
somewhere else and do this.
innovation
Yeah, just
to the
move to another
marketplace.
place,
But you
and the
combine
parents,
that
would go, hey,
with
it was something
the best
inappropriate went on, and they would go,
operational
no, a
excellence.
priest would
Many
never
people
do
can
that,
claim
and then it would
that. The
just go
difference
away.
is that
And then we just push
we
them on to
control
another.
still to
Why?
this
Why would
day
they do
our
that?
They're
manufacturing
terrible.
process. We
That
did
part of
not
it, at least, is a
outsource
terrible organization.
Manufacturing.
They've done
Many
a
companies
bad
again
job
in
there.
the space.
Yeah.
Our priest, I never knew any molesting priest. The priest we had was Father Mizarek.
Factories are
Or was it
being given
Mizarek?
to
He was
others to produce the product.
Steve Mizarek. He was
We
his
do that
cousin was the
ourselves.
pool
In fact,
player.
in
Oh, yeah.
I think that was
Oh, no
his cousin,
kidding.
Yeah.
That guy was
We have,
unbelievable.
one
That's
of
how
the
I remember his
largest
name.
smartphone factories in
Steve
the world.
Mizarek was the
We can
pool player?
manufacture 100 million, and I
Yeah,
know some
think
of you
so.
that I see
So
in the
the
room have
saran
been to
wrap.
that factory.
You think it would have
we can
worked
manufacture
if you would have been
100
able
million
to?
smartphones a
Yeah, I
year
used
in
it
that
one other time on a girl, and it did
And
work.
finally,
I got like
not-
half of it in.
not
How do you make sure?
really
I mean, the
the least
saran wrap
aspect.
will kind
This is a
of.
very interesting
You have to
company.
hold it, though.
Because
That's the
of course
problem. You
they
got to
know
hold
the
it at the
company is
base.
Oh, just
headquartered
dump
in
into it
China.
and pull out real quick.
No, you just got to
Sometimes
hold
I
it
know
as you're
about the
doing
base.
it. When you put it in, so you really can't get the whole thing in.
Because the management
Unless you put
of
like a
the
little
company
rubber band at
is
the
extremely diverse.
yeah on your shaft, yeah. But I didn't, so you have to hold it the whole
A
time.
hair tie or something.
To me, I just want to break the plane so I get the stat.
Snapping again, you get one of my nuts caught.
Totally
You were a late
empowered.
bloomer, though, man.
Yeah, I was, and then I went on a tear. I was a late bloomer.
When did you make it to the
This is not
AAA?
a company that
To the
believes
AAA
I was like Aaron
in
Rodgers. I
driving
sat on the
things
bench for
from
4
top
years
or
behind Brett
driving things from
Favre, and then I had a
big
You
fucking
learned.
good career.
clearly
And then you
very
did
diverse
great.
Yeah.
You know what? You forget that Aaron
And the
Rodgers
results are
sat
here
the
on
today.
the
bench for
We had
4
CES
years.
last week. Maybe
Behind
some of
Favre, and
you
then
were
Favre
at
wanted to
CES
come
2
back.
weeks ago.
I forgot
Remember
all
he-
about that.
Remember he
In Las
retired
Vegas,
for
you know,
the
some annual
95th
event.
time,
And then all
in
of a
like
sudden,
February, and then
the
like
only one,
April, he
but
wanted to
certainly
come
a
back.
big
They go,
one.
sorry, we moved
And
on
we
with Aaron
won
Rodgers,
again,
and he was pissed, and
a
that's when he
large
got
number
traded
of
to the
awards.
To
Jets.
the Jets.
Yeah.
Rewarding
Holy
us
fuck, I
for the
forgot all about that
innovation
until you
of
just
our
said it.
products.
Yeah, 'cause
It's funny. It's funny because I was just in Dallas this week, and I was hanging out with our buddy Tyson Walter.
Oh, yeah. I saw him at dinner with him when I was there.
He's going to be on my podcast today.
You guys
did a podcast with. It's great.
How did it went well?
Phenomenal, because he talks about what goes on in the locker room as an NFL player, the bullying, that if there was a gay guy in the locker room, the concussions and shit. Really good stuff. Bill Parcells.
Well, stop teasing us. Give us something, he said.
So all segments do well.
He just said the bullying thing is like whatever was in those text messages between Cognito and Jonathan Martin was nothing compared to what we would do.
Of course.
He goes, that's all we did. We hung out. It was 53 guys. All you did was bust balls.
Just beat the shit out of each other.
He goes, we would get pictures, you get pictures of somebody's wife or girlfriend. That's all you would do. Please let me fuck her. You know what I mean? Like way worse shit like that.
And was it racial too?
And you can see
he didn't say.
I would bet money it was racial as well, but
some guys sure.
But in a way where everyone understood, like we're just fucking around here.
In smartphone,
yeah, I mean, he just said they were all, you're together, and that's what you do, man. You just,
I love Tyson.
He's a great guy.
I haven't seen him in a while, but
he played for the Packers his last year. He said that Aaron Rodgers was behind Favre, and he saw this guy in practice, and he said he told his wife, he goes, that guy is going to be a superstar. That guy's unbelievable. So the Packers knew what they had. They were just waiting for Favre to get out of there. They didn't want to push him out because Favre was such a legend, but they knew Aaron Rodgers was
going to be
ready.
the thing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear this podcast now with Tyson Walter.
He's great, man.
Yeah, he talks about how all the bullshit rules in the NFL. I've had many conversations with him. All the nonsense you could get fined for if your socks aren't pulled up correctly or whatever. And just they study your uniform and just give you all sorts of fines for stuff that's going on.
He said when Bill Parcells took over the Cowboys, they built the indoor bubble to practice because it was so hot in the summertime.
Yeah.
And he would turn the heat up in the bubble. So he was actually hotter in the bubble than it would be outside.
Why would he do that? Just so you'd be used to it?
Yeah, just to get you in shape and just basically, he would want just torture you, make it 120 degrees in there and just play for like, practice for like 3 straight hours.
Right.
Eat lunch and then go practice for another 3 days before the new rules.
Did you get to play golf with him?
No, I don't play golf.
I've played golf with Tyson Walter. What a fucking nightmare.
Why? He's good.
He's a big galoot. He's a big fucking monster.
He hits like a pitching wedge like 200 yards. Like he's ridiculous. His ball goes so far that it's so far and so high you have no idea where the fucking ball went. Next thing you know, we'll jump in a golf cart and we're going like 2 fucking holes over to the left to go find his ball. And then he'll hit the ball from there onto the green. He's nuts to play with.
But it's not.
You got to
that
understand
simple
golf
to
for what I did.
execute.
For what I
This is
just
an
said.
everyday
But
he was
you want a guy that pretty much hits it relatively
allowing
straight, so
our
you don't have to
people
go,
to set the goals
on
for
a wild
themselves
goose
and then
chase
deliver on
for the ball
And the
every
success
other
that we
fucking
have
shot.
now, I want to take this as
He
an
said that when
opportunity. This is
Parcells
a
took
press
over the team,
conference. I
that
probably shouldn't,
Parcells
but I
told all
wanna
the
take this
Cowboys
as an
stay out of strip
opportunity
clubs
to
because they're always getting in
congratulate,
trouble, all these guys.
Bill
So he
Simmons
did that
and
when
the
he
team
took
in
over,
Turkey
like in
because our
February.
results in
Yeah.
this
And
market
then
have been
one of the
spectacular.
defensive backs at the
They've
time,
been
one of the starting
fantastic, and I'm
cornerbacks,
sure
got
you'll elaborate
shot in
a
the
bit more.
ass at a
And
strip
the reason
club.
is that
Really?
as
So
a
when
team,
training camp starts a month
they decide what
later,
they're going to
he
do,
makes the guy,
and
he goes, hey,
own
look, I told you
what they
guys
said they
nothing
were
good
gonna do, and
happens
they
after
delivered.
midnight.
And there's
I
no better
warned you
proof
guys
now
a
than
couple
to
months
give you the
ago,
microphone.
hey, whatever his
Thank
name
you.
is, Cedric, stand up and show him what happens after midnight. He made the guy pull his pants down and showed a fucking bullet wound in his ass to the whole team.
And the guy-
That's what happens after midnight.
And the guy was fine with the bullet wound in his ass?
He actually played. But yeah, there was a bullet wound in his ass. He made him pull his pants down and
Did
show
the
the whole
bullet go
team.
in?
Yeah.
He went to the hospital?
Yeah, he went to the hospital.
He pulled it out and he was still able to play that
Yeah,
week?
no, this was the season didn't start yet.
Oh, okay.
So he had a couple months to recuperate. But he had a huge scar on his fucking ass cheek. And Parcells made him show the whole team what happens after midnight. Nothing good. That's not true. A lot of fucking trains go down after midnight. They don't go down at 8 at night. A lot of good shit happens after midnight.
I'm with you. With young people, a lot of good stuff happens after midnight.
Nothing before.
That 9 to midnight is a bore fest.
Yeah, that's a fucking dinner. My grandmother was in Kansas.
9 to 1 a.m. is a bore fest. Who are you kidding? When you see those lights go on in the bar, it's time to fucking run around like a lunatic trying to get something done. I met Bill Parcells because of Tyson Walter down in Dallas when we played at golf. At that golf course, it's dedicated to the Cowboys. It's a Dallas Cowboys golf course, and that's the theme of the whole place. The golf carts had the Cowboys helmets on them, and the ball girls and the drink girls all had the cheerleader uniforms on and stuff, and it was all blue, silver, and I guess gold tees. And
So they can go without being bothered, right?
I guess. I mean, it's really hard to get on this golf course, but obviously if you play for the team or are associated with the organization, you play. And we go to the range to hit balls, and Bill Parcells comes up in his cart, and obviously Tyson knows him, and they have small talk, and I'm sitting there starstruck. I was starstruck on that one. I'm just like him and
No picture.
no, because back then we didn't really have our phones going yet, so you had to have some kind of portable camera on you all the time for these moments. I probably had a Pebble at that time. No, it was when we were off the air even. So this is 11, 12 years ago. I would guess. When was Parcells the coach? That's when it was. He hasn't coached them in well over 10 years now. So I remember just being fucking starstruck. And Tyson introduced me, and Bill fucking couldn't give a fuck. Had no recognition of who I was.
He probably wasn't a fan of the radio show.
I don't even think he knew the radio show. I would love to think that he wasn't a fan of the show, but I think he didn't even know about the show. And we were hot back then. Hot.
How old is he now?
Parcells?
Yeah.
Like 70, 71, yeah.
It's got to be pushing 70 at least. I think you're about right. All right, so the Tyson Walter, he's a good friend of all of ours. Yes. He'll be on your podcast today. Is it available now?
It'll be posted. It should be like in an hour or so.
How about it's not posted until we're done?
All right, yeah, we'll post it at noon.
I don't want to compete.
It's a really good interview about the inside, what goes on in the locker room.
That's great.
All that shit, yeah.
So he thought that Incognito got just a raw deal in the end.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, absolutely. So it goes on every day in every locker room, and it still goes on, and nobody has a problem with it.
But when is he going to come back?
He's not.
You don't think Incognito ever comes back?
Is it just for that reason?
He's already at like 31, 32 years old. They always want to, he'll work for the league minimum next year, but I highly doubt if someone hot.
He's well rested, though.
He is, but he's old. They like 22-year-old kids in there.
Was he hurt?
Injuries.
Did he have an injury? Is that one reason?
No.
Is he just not playing for those text messages?
Yeah.
That's it. He was
good. He's a good guy. Everybody needs offensive linemen in the league.
Somebody would have picked him up if it wasn't for the racist angle on that whole thing.
Without a doubt. It was just one little part in all those text messages.
So the guy's done with his career basically, that's 2 years ago now? 28, 29 years old, he's done.
Yeah, he had a good 2 or 3 years left.
Where's the guy who was bullied, quote unquote? Where's that guy?
He's with the 49ers. They traded him. Miami traded him for like a 7th round pick, and he started like half the games, and he's still not that good.
Okay.
But he's with his old coach. Harbaugh used to coach him at Stanford in college. So
shouldn't that guy have come out and basically said, "Look, we're done with this. let the fucking guy back in the league.
He should have.
The fact that has to happen, especially since we have video of Ray Rice knocking his wife out.
No kidding.
And he'll play next
I think
year.
there's lawsuits still going on.
But he knows
filed,
they were.
He can't really come back and go out and say that.
He knows they were friends, though. You say stuff to your friends, right?
Yeah. He helped them because the guy was really struggling. He was a bust. He was a second-round pick, and he wasn't doing well. And Richie was just getting him out of the house, doing whatever he can, busting his balls. But like, dude, come on, I'm picking you up. We're going to a movie. We're going to a strip club, whatever. You can't just sit in your house.
It's too bad.
Yep.
So quickly before we go to break, so who do you got in these games this weekend? Who goes to the Super Bowl?
I'd say, if I had to guess, New England, Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's going to be tough. You think Seattle could win 2 Super Bowls in a row?
I don't know. It's going to be tough. I mean, because they got that huge home field advantage. If they play New England, I don't know. If they play the Colts, I think they could beat them. New England's going to be really tough. A
lot of people are picking the Pats over the Colts. I think the paper had it 38-21. That's a blowout, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
in a playoff game.
And then, look, the Packers can go into Seattle and win. They could. They could. But Russell Wilson is unbelievable, man.
He's a good quarterback.
Jesus, is he good?
All right. There you have it. We got Jim Florentine today. His podcast with Tyson Walter a little later today on riotcast.com or how else?
Or iTunes.
Or iTunes, yeah.
And then I'll be in Atlanta this weekend at the Laughing Skull Comedy Club.
I did that years
Thursday
ago.
through Sunday. It's a great club.
Speaking of Atlanta, the Rex Ryan thing. So Rex Ryan goes to the Bills, but he thought he was going to be the Falcons coach, wanted to be the Falcons coach, but then he felt like the team was sort of, dare I say, dissing him and not showing respect, didn't get back to him soon enough. And all Rex Ryan's pals were saying, hey, Rex, why don't you give it one more day? And Rex is like, fuck that. If they wanted me, they would have called me by now. And then marches down to Florida where the Bills owners are and signs that 5-year deal.
Yeah, they want. Rumor has it they wanted to interview Josh McDaniel, who's the offensive coordinator for the Patriots.
Okay.
Used to be the Broncos coach. The Falcons wanted to before they made a decision on Rex Ryan. But he hasn't interviewed with anybody because the Patriots are still playing. So they haven't talked to him yet.
Rex Ryan didn't want to wait.
Rex Ryan didn't want to wait. But meanwhile, in Atlanta, you're in a shitty division, and you got a really good quarterback. It's a good situation. He's got a house in Tennessee. His wife lives, I don't know, the kid goes to Clemson, so everything's close. That's the gig he wanted. He has to fix that defense, but you got a quarterback. You go to Buffalo, you got a phenomenal defense, no quarterback. He's basically like the Jets.
He's dealing with.
He took the Jet job, but with a better defense. But he's got no quarterback in Buffalo either.
Yeah, he's dealing with another team without a quarterback,
and they have
That's
no
gonna
first
be a
round.
nightmare after
They got
a while.
no first round pick this year. They traded it last year. They got no first and fourth. So you're not getting the quarter. You're going to get a Mark Sanchez or a Matt Schaub to come in there for a year, and then hopefully maybe the next year get another quarterback.
Oh my God!
So he's fucked. But look, he probably said, "I'm getting $27.5 million guaranteed."
How do you turn that down when it's an immediate gig? You got to take it.
In case all those other jobs filled up and he didn't get a job, he finished 4 and 12, 4 and 12. So maybe he doesn't get any of these job openings. He's like, you know what? I go to TV, I make $1 million. I'm guaranteed $27.5 million. I'm set for life
for a 4 and 12 coach.
For a 4 and 12 coach.
I've always liked Rex Ryan as a coach. You know, I don't know shit, but I always liked him. I really do think he'll do well in Buffalo.
Look, the Bills haven't been in the playoffs in like 15 years. If he can get to 2 playoffs in 5 years in that contract, he'll be a god in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So that's all he has to do. He doesn't even have to win a Super Bowl for he did a good job.
But he didn't want to wait for the Falcons. I think the Bills would have waited for him too. So
yeah.
That's very interesting how that went down.
The Bills
he really wanted
that was like the worst job available was the Bills. Mm-hmm. You know, the Bears job, that's a good one. The Raiders, you never know. That's a lot of history there. Even though they got a shitty owner and stuff.
Who wants to live in Buffalo with the weather when Atlanta's just so much warmer?
I got to tell you though, Buffalo, is a great sports town.
It's amazing. You can't eat dinner in Buffalo without looking at a fucking TV somewhere. If you're watching a game, it's the best place in the country.
And I mean, that whole city gets behind the team. The whole fucking city. They're kind of like the Packers, you know what I mean? Where the whole fucking city comes out.
Plus, you stay in the AFC East. You're not winning the division. As long as Brady and Belichick are there, probably another 2-3 years at least.
You think Brady has 3 more years?
The guy's the top of his game right now.
How old is he?
I don't know, like 37.
He's been around.
He's got at least
time.
2 solid years, probably 3. So until those guys are gone, you're not winning the division.
Right.
Unless he gets hurt one year.
Right.
So you're always going to be behind them.
There you have it, Jim Florentine.
I want to see Brady go to the Bills. That's what I say is going to happen. He's going to play for Buffalo and Rex Ryan. They're going to win the Super Bowl.
All right, we'll take a break here. What do we got today? We got Jamie Hector coming in at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
And more with Jim Florentine.
Hi, this is Billy Idol, and we will be right back with more Opie Radio.